Welcome back, my fellow casual gamers. You know, since I started YouTube, I've kind of just been writing certain waves and trying to talk about relevant topics so that my videos can get some good traction. And for the most part, it's been working. But I think I want to try to take some time to make a video about something that I've always found very interesting. A certain video game, to be precise. You see, the thing that really sucks about really entertaining video games and movies is that you can really only experience the shock of whatever thrill ride you're going on just once. There are many games that I wish I could experience again for the first time. BioShock, Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, Metal Gear Solid 3, but there is one game that I thoroughly enjoyed. I live streamed it to a couple of my friends and we treated it as if it was like a series of sorts. And through that playthrough, we were sent on a roller coaster of emotions. We laughed, we cried, we were angry. It just sent us through everything. And all it makes me do is appreciate the person behind this gem of a game even more. That person is none other than David Cage. And that gem of a game is also none other than Heavy Rain. Before we get started though, I'd like to thank today's video sponsor, Ride Away. You ever had a night out at the saloon with a bunch of your buddies and just had one too many of those sweet sizzling whiskey bombs that their Betsy behind the counter keeps serving you? Too stumbly wumbly to ride your horse all the way back home? You know the law, don't drink and ride. Well, that all changes with Ride Away. With Ride Away, riders are available all around the counter just to get you from point A to point B. Your sweet stallion got a pain in its leg it needs to stay off of? Call Ride Away. Your horse tired of your dusty behind sitting on it for long rides? Our horses ain't. Call Ride Away. You just don't own a horse? We got all the horses. Call Ride Away. It ain't difficult to reach us neither. With a simple whistle or a harder plug from your guitar, we can have a horse carriage at your location and get you where you need to get in a timely fashion. When you use promo code TCG2K23, you get half your first ride covered from us. Anything after that, nope, can't help you, man. So do yourself a favor. Call Ride Away and let's get you to your destination right away. Ride Away is not a real product and is in no way, shape, or form trying to take away from the actual businesses like Uber or Lyft. Though, if you guys are up for sponsoring me for a couple videos, however that works, that's totally fine as well. Ride Away, though being a fake product, does not condone the action of riding horses while drunk, whistling in the middle of the day to try to call any horses towards you that may not actually be around, and strumming your guitar for the same desired effect. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Heavy Rain is an interactive psychological thriller video game developed by Quantum Dream and was released in 2010. The game follows the intertwined stories of 4 characters as they search for a serial killer known as the Origami Killer in a rain-soaked and gritty city. The main feature of Heavy Rain is its narrative-driven gameplay, where players' choices and actions directly impact the outcome of the story permanently. All choices very much matter in this game. Even if you die with certain characters, the story will continue. The narrative of this game is written and directed by the French video game designer David Cage. He's made other works similar to this one, such as The Indigo Prophecy, also known as Fahrenheit in some regions. It's an interactive cinematic thriller video game just like Heavy Rain that was released in 2005. The game follows an engaging storyline filled with mystery, supernatural elements, and emotional depth. Beyond Two Souls, another interactive drama action adventure game released in 2013. This game follows the extraordinary life of Jodie Holmes, someone who possesses a powerful psychic link to a mysterious entity named Aiden. And more recently, Detroit Become Human, another interactive narrative-driven video game that was released in 2018. Set in a futuristic Detroit in 2038, the game explores a world where advanced androids with human-like appearances and artificial intelligence are a common sight, designed to serve humanity in various roles. Even though Indigo Prophecy was pretty well known for its time, I don't think David Cage got his recognition until the release of Heavy Rain. The game was built to be the next remarkable story-driven game with graphics that were next level, even though it was on the PlayStation 3. I mean, at the time, PlayStation 3 graphics were pretty darn good with games like Uncharted and Metal Gear Solid 4. And Heavy Rain looked like it wanted to be part of that. Like I mentioned before, you play as 4 characters in this game, each person bringing a slice to this story pie. We've got Ethan Mars, who's a father and architect that suffers a tragic loss when his younger son Jason is killed in a car accident.
Jason! 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 No!
Afterwards, his elder son, Sean, is kidnapped by the Origami Killer. Ethan is driven to save his son and must complete a series of difficult trials set by the killer to prove his love for Sean. Madison Page, a journalist suffering from insomnia who becomes entangled in the case while trying to report on it. Madison forms connections with some of the other characters and assists in their quest to uncover the truth behind the Origami Killer. Scott, Shelby, a private investigator hired by the families of the Origami Killer's victims. He conducts his investigation to find the killer and bring them to justice. As he progresses, he uncovers more information about the case and becomes deeply involved in the lives of the victims' families. And Norman Jayden, an FBI profiler who's investigating the Origami Killer case. He utilizes an experimental device called the ARI, Added Reality Interface, to analyze crime scenes and gather evidence. However, Jayden struggles with an addiction to a fictional drug called tryptocane, which affects his judgment and performance. I'm sorry, that's just a very creative name for that fictional drug. Anyway, throughout the game, they all face various moral dilemmas, difficult decisions, and have to interact with the environment through quick-time events to shape the narrative's outcome. This story is filled with suspense, emotional moments, and unexpected plot twists, keeping players engaged in the pursuit of the killer. I remember the first time I tried this game out. I had no idea what to expect. They had released a demo for the PlayStation 3, and when I had heard about how people were expecting this to be a game with insane graphics and a gripping story, I had to give it a shot to see for myself. The demo starts off with you playing as the private investigator, Scott Shelby. He visits a sleazy apartment, or was it a hotel? I don't know, but he goes there to see one of the people affected by the Origami Killer's murders, a person named Lauren Winter, who had lost her son. Times are definitely rough for her because, to put it lightly, she putting out. Yeah, she's a prostitute with a policy though.
It's $50. I don't kiss and I don't do any weird.
But Scotty ain't here for that kind of strange. He's actually there to see if he could get any answers pertaining to the Origami Killer case. There are many ways you could go about doing this, but me being the silver-tongued gamer that I am, I tell her straight up that I bought her time, didn't I? I'm entitled to some answers. And rightfully so, I was met with,
You want to pay me to tell you about my son? Is that it? You can buy my body, Mr. Shelby, but my son is not for sale. Get out of here. Get the f*** out!
What follows is the verbally defeated detective suffering from a sudden asthma attack a few steps away from the apartment door he recently visited. It was really the first time you get an urgent QuickTime event in the demo, and the way they go about it is actually pretty good. Never have I ever felt the need to quickly search my pockets for an inhaler like the time I played that demo. As all this happens, some shady dude walks right past you, and after a few puffs from your inhaler, we see that he forces himself inside of Lauren's apartment. Now, you the player might be thinking, what just happened? What should I do? Should I go back and help? And guess what? Scott Shelby is thinking the same thing, jumping between thoughts like, I'm not looking for any trouble, but if I go through that door, I'm gonna find it. And other ones like, tough guy, huh? Maybe it's time I teach him a lesson in the School of Hard Knocks. He says it way cooler than I do, I promise.
I'm not looking for trouble, but if I go through that door, I might find it. Tough guy, huh? Looks like he needs a little lesson from the School of Hard Knocks.
Us being the badasses that we are, of course we're gonna march right back to that door, bang on it, and save the girl, right? I know I did. I went back in there, showed that abuser what happens when you put your hands on a little lady like Lauren. If you hit all the QTEs right, you beat his ass and Lauren is grateful, hopefully setting up a chance for you to get to know her better, and maybe even question her further about some Origami Killer stuff. There was also some stuff with Norman Jayden in the demo, but I tuned out of that. Wasn't really interested in that at the time. Now, this being the demo of Heavy Rain at the time, the only sort of replay value I felt that I could truly get from it was to play through Scott Shelby's section. So I did, multiple times. There was the outcome that I had before, then there was the outcome to never be, because like good old Shelby said,
I'm not looking for trouble, but if I go through that door, I might find it.
So I didn't go looking for trouble this time and just walked out. But then I played it one more time, looking to teach him a lesson in the School of Hard Knocks. But this time, Scott was the one taken to the School of Hard Knocks because his ass got demolished. This one, unrelated to the story, ended up being my favorite option. In such a serious themed game, I had never laughed so hard. So every time I played the demo from that point on, it was just a quest to see in what ways I could make Scott lose his fight against Lauren's abusive ex. Each time becoming funnier than the last. Not too long after that though, I kinda moved on from the demo after getting my share of laughs. At the time I didn't have a job either, so I couldn't afford to buy that game and see what the tale of Scott, Ethan, Madison, and Norman would be. It wouldn't be until many years later that I finally got to play the game to its entirety, streaming it over the course of a couple nights with some friends. And after years of wanting to know what happened, who the Origami Killer was, what other choices would I have to make knowing that one mistake would permanently alter the course of the story, I finally got my answer. Of course, I won't be spoiling any anything major here in case any of you decide to get the urge to play it after watching this. But I just want to say that I thought the story was alright, nothing too mind-blowing. What I really want to say is, despite the story just being alright, the experience that I had with Heavy Rain was a heavy one. I really appreciate David's attempt to tell a story that splits between multiple characters who, for the most part, in my opinion, don't really interact or have much to do with each other besides the fact that they're all somehow linked to what's going on with the Origami Killer. To me, the game does take itself a bit too seriously, and that ends up making a lot of the parts funnier than they should be. And that's okay. I did a playthrough with my friends and made choices that genuinely baffled them. One moment even got me yelled at because we were all panicking, and I made a very bad choice in that moment of panic. And knowing that bad choice would affect the outcome of the game, though we all laughed about it afterwards, still stuck with me. And that's what I found so fascinating about this game. The effect of your choices really stick with you, and sure, you can just reload and replay the entire game and do everything right the second time. But knowing that your choices are permanent during your first playthrough really makes things that much more weighted. You only get one shot, one opportunity to make things right, so you have to make it count. As for what I personally think about the game Heavy Rain, the story, the gameplay, the performances, I think each leaves a bit to be desired, but does well enough to make the game a very entertaining experience. To be fair though, I can't imagine the number of takes the performers had to do for the multiple choices that you have within the game, so it makes sense if a couple things are a bit hit or miss. My favorite characters to play as were Scott, Shelby, and Ethan, and while there were a lot of unintentional laughs because of how things were done, I really was on the edge of my seat to see which outcome I'd end up getting. I ended up getting the worst outcome because of the constant distractions from my friends, but that's besides the point. Good outcome or bad, the journey was a thrilling one every step of the way, and I just wish I could wipe my memory clean and play it all over again for the first time. David Cage and Quantum Dreams would go on to produce Beyond Two Souls and Detroit Become Human, which sees massive improvements to things like the story, performances, and gameplay. And they're currently working on a game within the Star Wars universe, which should be pretty interesting. But Heavy Rain will always have a special place in my heart, being the first David Cage story I ever completed and setting me on a roller coaster ride that I won't soon forget. Indigo Prophecy is still better though. Hey guys, thanks for watching. This has been one topic that I've been meaning to cover for a while, and I'm curious as to see what you guys think about my opinion on this game. How about you guys though? Have you guys ever played Heavy Rain or any of Quantum Dream's other games? Which one is your favorite if you have any? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. This has been your friendly casual gamer, hoping that you stay as casual as I do, and I'll see you next time.